Did you know that the first and last empires mentioned in the Bible include the city of Babylon? In Genesis 10, Babylon was the beginning of Nimrod's empire and the site of the Tower of Babel. In Revelation 18, the Bible tells us about the destruction of the empire of which Babylon is the principal city. Babylon is the ultimate symbol of man's desire to be equal with God, but at the same time it is a physical place on earth. Located to the northeast of Israel, Babylon is part of every empire that has come against Israel and God's choice of a chosen people through Abraham. This takes us to Israel, the land and people of which God says are the apple of his eye. In the point of view of the Bible, Israel is the center and most important place on earth. Everything revolves around Israel and God's chosen people. Is it any wonder that the Middle East problem remains unresolved, although countless world leaders have tried to solve it? In order to understand prophetic events as they happen, we need to understand this relationship between God and Israel and the relationship between Babylon and Israel. Babylon, through its 7 incarnations, has been and continues to be the chief enemy of Israel, both the land and the people. In its 8th and final incarnation, as the empire ruled by the Antichrist, it will be defeated and utterly destroyed by the forces led by Messiah. Did you know that Israel has never in its history taken the battle to Babylon? Micah chapter 5 tells us that this will happen when Yeshua comes to claim his kingdom. How do we understand these events and symbols surrounding this final contest between good and evil, life and death, Israel and Babylon, God and Satan? Our source of understanding and interpretation is the Bible. What does the Bible tell us about these symbols and events? What is the mark of the beast? How will we identify the Antichrist when he comes? Who are the 144,000 and what is their mission? What do the historical interactions and conflicts between Israel and Babylon tell us about that final Babylon? All these topics and more are included in our book, Babylon Rising. Read about the rise of that first Babylon and each subsequent empire as we trace Babylon through scripture and history to the rise of the final Babylon. Babylon Rising, available through Amazon.com.